guys, I'm going to show you the next step in the Jeep modification. This is actually the front bumper. Introducing to you the Fab Fours Grumper. This is the 4610 version here. Full steel bumper, replaced the entire front end where the grille is and the actual bumper with a fully enclosed area to cover your winch. Attach points here for your D-rings, one on each side. I also temporarily, just for the looks in this video, I put in 2 screws here. There's also a model that you can get that has gaps in there so that you could put a little light bar if you wanted to. It kind of gives it that style, evil eye to your headlights. And there's also ventilation on both sides here. There's also 2 big holes here, one on each side. I'll get to that later. Those are access points for your winch. These here are big enough that they're about the size of my hand, a little bit bigger actually. You can get your hand in there entirely and get to your winch on one side or the other. There's 2 different versions of this bumper. I got the second one here that has this that extends out, and this actually gives a little bit of protection for your tires. Some people might not care, and if you're off-roading or rock crawling, you probably don't want this, but generally most people want to protect their tire in case they do hit something or something comes back here. But there's another version of this bumper that basically comes straight here and it's just cut over. It has definitely a different look here. One thing that you might have noticed right away, maybe not, is that these nice access holes, which I talked about previously, there's nothing to really stop anything from coming in here. You'll get mud, water, branches, dirt, you name it, it's just probably going to get in here. I went to go see some trusty friends at Schaefer's Welding, where they like to make custom parts, and I got these 2 things made up to exactly have access to these holes quickly. So all you need here is a 5/16 Allen wrench, and you can put them in here. You can tighten one, tighten the other, and then boom, it hides the hole. And this is just a plate at the back. They've welded that nut right into there. And see, this actually, they did a really good job at that, because this is actually bent here. So is this. It's very, very faint, but it's bent slightly here. You actually take this and see, you get a little bit of a gap there, and you slide it on the top, and then slide it back onto the bottom, and then ta-da!
So to start your installation of the Grumper, you will need to prepare the Jeep to receive the new bumper. So first off, there's a piece of plastic trim that attaches between the front bumper and the Jeep, and that will need to be removed, and then you will need to remove the 2 bolts attaching the skid plate to the lower frame. You will now need to disconnect the fog lights if you have them installed on your Jeep and stow the wiring. You may also splice these wires to other exterior lights that you've installed on your Jeep, and that way you can use the existing fog light power buttons to control those lights. You will then need to remove 4 nuts on each side on the studs that are holding your front bumper. To do this, you just need an 18mm socket, 4 on one side, 4 on the other. And now that your front bumper is free, you can remove it and set it aside. Now we need to remove the plastic grille. So you just open up the hood, locate and remove the 6 push pins at the top of the grille. And after this is completed, the only thing holding the grille are push clips. So pulling firmly should free up the entire grille. So now your Jeep will be fully naked at the front, and we will only need to cut out some plastic headlight support structures. So these support structures need to be trimmed to allow clearance for the Grumper's inside corners near each headlight. So there's a piece of trim, a rubber trim, that's located next to the headlights. Those need to be removed. So on the driver's side, you will only have push pins, while on the passenger side, you'll have push pins and 2 torque heads. This piece of trim is hiding the headlight support structures. Once that's removed, you'll also need to remove both headlights. And then all you have to do is locate and install the provided cutting templates and cut off the excess plastic using a cutting wheel. Then you discard the templates, and you reinstall the headlights and all the other front trims for the front end. Now we have to do the opposite, which is prepare the Fab Fours Grumper itself for installation on your Jeep. First off, you'll need to install the metal grille inside the Grumper. If you're using the grille with a light bar cutout, you'll also need to install the light bar and prep any related wiring. The fog lights that we're removing, you could also use the fog light wires to control your light bar that you put in there as well. Then you will also need to install your fair lead on the Grumper and your winch. The winch control wiring will get in the way when installing the Grumper. So here's a few tips. All the ring terminals of the winch wiring need to be orientated so the leads points towards the hood of your Jeep. So there's not a lot of space to have them pointing downwards towards the ground. And if you have sway bar disconnects, these will 100% interfere with low wiring installation on the passenger side. So to avoid any frustrations with large gauge wiring installation, have all the ring terminals pointed upwards and install your winch control box in the center of the winch, not at the ends. The last step is to lift the Grumper and align the mounting studs with the frame faceplate. Secure all 8 studs loosely with flat washers, lock washers, and nuts, and then verify the alignment and tighten all your fasteners. Your Grumper's base weight is 75 pounds, and with a winch, this can be an extremely difficult task to hold up and align all 8 studs. Easiest way is to have the entire Grumper assembly assembled and suspended, and 1 or even 2 people can easily align the studs without struggle. Then you use the self-taping bolts on the top of the Grumper to mount the upper frame just below the hood. You may also want to install chafing protection inside your hood or on the Grumper upper portion to prevent damage and also to reduce noise. The last part will be to finalize the internal wiring of your winch and install any shackles and install your winch cables and hook. And so far, I've been driving my Jeep around with this Grumper for almost a year, no design issues thus far, and the paint has withstood the test of time. The only downfall is the flat black paint is textured and tends to hold on to dirt and mud a lot easier than the clear coat on the rest of your Jeep. So I have found that products that have a silicone dioxide or silica inside them will work well at stopping dirt adhesion to your bumper, but these products are generally not cheap. Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful on your installation of your own Grumper, or just to help you make a decision on what kind of bumper to install on your Jeep. In my case, I really wanted to A, remove all the plastic parts at the front of my Jeep that will eventually break and crack from off-roading, and B, protect the winch inside my vehicle without compromising the functionality of it. And the Fab Fours Grumper does both and has so far exceeded my expectations.